All right, let's dive into this. We're breaking down Sheffield Wednesday manager Henrik Pedersen's pre-match press conference ahead of their massive game against Wrexham. And really, this presser was all about three things: a huge setback, a really passionate response, and a monumental challenge just around the corner. And right out of the gate, we got the biggest piece of news. And it really set the tone. The manager, he didn't mince words at all when he was asked about losing his starting goalkeeper, Pierce Charles. A big loss, indeed. So, just how bad is it? Well, the manager went on to lay out all the details. And believe me, this is way more than just a minor knock. It's a significant blow. Okay, so here's the lowdown. The manager confirms Charles is going to be out for some weeks, at least until the next international break. He flat out called him one of our best players and really emphasized his very, very high level, especially on the defensive side of things. The big question mark right now is surgery. They're still waiting to hear from a specialist on that one. So, of course, that forces the club's hand, right? With your number one keeper on the sidelines, you've got to find a solution, and fast. The focus immediately shifts to the transfer market. And the obvious question everyone's asking is, okay, so what's the plan? Well, Peterson explained that they have been given the green light to go out and find an emergency loan signing to fill that gap. But it's not as simple as just picking a name out of a hat. The manager called it a very, very difficult situation to find the right person at this stage of the season. And what's really interesting is they're not just looking for a quick 7-day fix. No, they're pushing to find a solution for a longer period because they need that stability. Okay, so with that big headache to deal with, the focus then shifts to the guys already in the building. How are they reacting, especially coming off that recent loss to Stoke? And look, despite the injury, despite the defeat, the manager was absolutely adamant about the team's spirit. He said the passion, the energy they've shown on the training pitch has been, in his words, amazing. It sounds like they are fired up to bounce back. He kind of broke down their thinking, saying that after looking back at that Stoke game, the whole mindset changed. They're not dwelling on what went wrong. Instead, the entire focus is now on what they need to do more of to get the win. And he got specific, too. They've been drilling down on the tactical stuff. Things like tightening up the gaps in their defensive shape and just being braver and more intense when they have the ball. It's all about taking the hard lessons from that last loss and turning them into real, tangible improvements. And, the challenges just keep on coming. The conversation then turned to this double-edged sword that the club is dealing with, bringing through fantastic young talent. It's a source of pride, but man, it comes with a bit of pain, too. You could really hear the conflict in his voice when he was asked about a gifted young defender, Mario Collins, who's leaving for Manchester City. On one hand, he's proud, saying it proves the academy is doing something really, really good. But then he admits, with the other eyes, I'm crying a little bit. And that really gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's a fantastic badge of honor for your youth system when the biggest clubs in the world want your players. But the whole point, the ultimate goal, is to hold on to those guys and see them star for your own first team. So, you've got all this drama, all this response, and where does it all lead? Straight into their next big test, a weekend game against a very, very tough Wrexham team. And Peterson did not pull any punches when talking about Wrexham. He started his assessment with a crystal clear statement of respect. He knows exactly what they're up against. And it's not just talk. He pointed to the fact that they've really beefed up their squad, bringing in new players with big quality. So any idea that Wrexham might still be finding their feet in this league? Yeah, you can throw that right out the window. So you add all that up, and his conclusion is pretty stark. He framed this match as a big, big challenge. And you get the sense it's a real measure of his team's character. He even singled out some specific dangers. He called striker Kiefer Moore a fantastic championship player, not just because he's strong, but because his timing is just excellent. And beyond that, he made it clear that the whole Wrexham squad has enough championship experience to know exactly what it takes to win at this level. So here's where we land. Sheffield Wednesday is dealing with a major injury, the bittersweet pain of developing top young talent, and now they're staring down a seriously powerful opponent. The manager says they've responded to all this with an amazing new fire on the training ground. But the big question hanging over everything is, will that new intensity be enough to get them through their toughest challenge yet?